concerns on high taxes. Government reopens Nakasozi-Chengera Road after preliminary repairs on the affected spot. Trump, Biden, both cautious, vague on marijuana positions. And in sports, the cricket Cranes, Uganda national senior men's team has received new head coach. Elizabeth Nakakuni joins us on sign language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Let's dig into it. President Yoweri Museveni has responded to concerns raised by traders regarding high taxes with a detailed explanation of Uganda's tax system and its objectives. The president convened a meeting on the 19th of April at State House in Entebbe with a multitude of traders and their representatives who expressed their concerns regarding the burdensome taxation they encounter.
Tata, His Excellency, ekibuga kyo kiggale wamu n'ebibuga byonna ebyetoolodde.
In response to the issues raised by traders who met the president last week on Friday 19th April 2024, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has underscored the significance of these meetings along with prior engagements. He elaborated on the historic nature by stating that they address the pivotal debate of whether Uganda should break free from the cycle of producing what we do not consume and consuming what we do not produce, as summarized in the African Union documents. He highlighted the predicament of Uganda and Africa, where raw materials are produced locally, processed into finished products abroad, and then imported back at significantly higher prices. He argued that not all sectors are taxed, emphasizing that activities such as buying and selling produce within Uganda are tax-exempt, as well as imports of machinery and raw materials, insisting that the rationale behind taxation is to build self-sufficiency and support local production. He addressed the issue of reselling imported goods to neighboring countries, cautioning against turning East Africa and Central Africa into a dumping ground for foreign goods. He emphasized the importance of developing Africa's own capacity and reducing dependency on imports. The president compared the job creation and economic benefits of importing consumer goods to the potential of local industries, citing the example of Nightingale Textile Factory. He stressed that locally made products not only create jobs but also contribute more to the economy through taxes and value addition. Regarding the proposal to make Uganda a re-export hub like Dubai, he cautioned the origin of the products being re-exported and emphasized the need to prioritize Uganda's interests over foreign ones. He acknowledged concerns about the IFRI's computer gadget and promised to study its impact on small businesses. However, he reiterated the importance of not being agents of foreign interests at the expense of Uganda's interests. Finally, President Museveni highlighted Uganda's indigenous wealth creation culture, citing examples of native resources that could be harnessed for economic development. In essence, President Museveni's response emphasized the government's commitment to supporting local industries, reducing dependency on imports, and fostering economic self-sufficiency while addressing the concerns raised by the traders. Wadulo Makanold for UBC.
Right, President Museveni has met and held discussions with Professor Kim Yong-myong, an investor from Japan, at State House in Entebbe. Professor Kim is the owner of Planter, a company interested in introducing acetic acid fertilizers in Uganda. The company that is based in Tokyo, Japan, produces acetic acid fertilizers through skip-on technology, a product that promotes high yields in plants and also helps them to resist diseases and drought. President Museveni welcomed the investor to Uganda and pledged government support. On his part, Professor Kim expressed gratitude to the president for hosting him and assured him that his company is ready to set up a factory in Uganda to produce the fertilizers. In the same meeting, Dr. Asiya Godfrey, Director, National Crops Resources Research Institute, informed the President that acetic acid is a key input that increases plant vigor, reduces plant diseases and keeps away pests, increasing crop tolerance to drought and heat, thus increasing productivity. Dr. Asiya further requested for the President's approval of the Planters Partnership with National Agricultural Research Organization, NARO, to conduct a widespread demonstration and commercialization of the product. And in an earlier development, President Museveni met a delegation from Boeing Company at State House in Entebbe. The delegation was led by the president of Boeing Middle East, Turkey, Africa and Central Asia, Kojit Gata Ora. During the meeting, President Museveni assured the group that Uganda will cooperate with Boeing to enhance the country's aviation sector. Gata informed President Museveni that the company has a comprehensive aviation system package which can support the infrastructure and aviation development in Uganda. The meeting was coordinated by Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, headed by Odrek Rabogo, who also serves as Senior Presidential Advisor, Special Duties. Now, 2 private security guards have been arrested by police following an attempt to rob Equity Bank branch in Soroti City. The futile attempted haste took place this Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Let's take a look.
Business came to a standstill along Soroti Main Street as the security fought off an attempted robbery at Equity Bank branch, Soroti City. 2 armed guards attached to Security Group Africa SGA private security firm were arrested as the main suspects in the attempted break-in. East Choga Police spokesperson Edson Obkulem confirmed the arrest of 2 private security personnel, a supervisor, and a guard to help with investigations over the attempted robbery of Equity Bank Soroti branch.
His counterpart was got at the scene and he was taken to our custodies pending further investigations.
Obkulem confirmed that the suspects are employees of Security Group Africa.
The guards who were taking care of the building or the bank, one of them was called on phone and he said that he was admitted at the hospital. However, on verifying the information, it was not true that the guard was at the hospital.
The Deputy Resident City Commissioner Soroti City East, Edwin Benessa, confirmed the arrest and warned private security guards against involvement in stealing from properties they are meant to safeguard.
Have lost colossal sums of money. The other issue that I've noted with concern is that behind this building there are no cameras. So I think the back era when they didn't put cameras behind. And this
Uganda Police Force recently threatened to cancel licenses of private security guards over misuse of firearms and involvement in theft from the premises they are expected to be guarding.
How power went off just within that proximity of time when the thieves were attempting to break into this bank. That poses a very big question that needs to be answered. That just within that same period of time when the thieves were breaking into the bank, power checked.
Now, government has reopened Nakasozi Chengera Road after preliminary repairs on the affected spot. The head of communication at Uganda National Roads Authority, Alan Sempebwa, confirmed the development and announced normal traffic flow. Plans are also underway to work on all access roads, starting with Natete Nakauka Road.
As you can see, our engineers had a sleepless night, I should say. We all camped here on site to ensure that we undertake the necessary intervention. That's a quick restoration of the section along Buddo Chengera.
Uganda National Roads Authority has reopened Nakasozi Chengera Bridge along Kampala-Masaka Road after carrying out preliminary repairs. The road is now fully open for normal traffic flow as confirmed by the head of communication, Uganda National Roads Authority, Alan Sempewa.
I can confirm to you that the section between Chengera and Buddo has now been reinstated and traffic can ably flow smoothly along this link on the Kampala-Masaka Highway.
The road had weakened and caved in on Saturday night due to water pressure following a heavy morning downpour. The culverts that had been supporting the water flow at the bridge and the layers of the bridge had reportedly weakened and have also been partially replaced.
The calamities caused by weather change, we also faced by increasing settlement and degradation of our environment. You know, as you've seen, there is increasing settlement and human activity around these waterways, so the waters do not have a clear or smooth path within which to flow. So ultimately the water finds itself in our homes and in damaging our infrastructure as well.
The spokesperson UNRA Alan Sempewa says the repairs are a temporary solution, but the main repairs are underway.
Maybe to clarify is we're undertaking a remedial temporary works. This is not a permanent solution, but this is meant to give us a stable, smooth surface, but also to ensure reliability of this connection. So this is mainly temporary as we undertake or design or prepare for major and permanent works.
On the contrary, works on access roads including Natete Nakauka are yet to start.
Thankfully, government has in its plans programs to work on alternative routes. For example, the Natete Nakauka Road is one of the major access routes or relief routes for the Kampala-Masaka Highway. Right now, the good news is we have a contractor. Government of Uganda has already picked on a contractor, that is Kodrosi, to start construction of the Natete Nakauka Road. So it will be a major relief route for this section.
In the meantime, the public will continue using both the main and access roads to ease traffic in and out of the city center.
If access routes were well done, well prepared, I think it would do us a lot of good.
Susan Naung and Juman Samba reporting for EBC TV.
Speaker of Parliament Anita Among has asked the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, to appear before Parliament and explain the criteria that was used to appoint Assistant President, District and City Commissioners. This follows the Leader of Opposition, Joel Senyonyi, seeking clarification on the floor of Parliament as to how this came about and the roles these people hold.
President Yoweri Museveni appointed over 300 assistant RDCs and RCCs. Now the Leader of Opposition, Joel Senyonyi, wants to know the relevance of these new members and the criteria used to recruit them.
Be helped to understand whether now assistant RDCs are taking over the work of the Inspectorate of Government, because there seems to be a lot of duplication. Also, if you're saying they are meant to carry out mobilization, for what exactly? Section 70 provides that these are meant to be people of high moral integrity, people whose conduct is not questionable.
Members of Parliament resolved that the questions of the roles and responsibilities of the new assistant RDCs and RCCs require the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, to explain. The government chief whip, Hamson Oboa, said their role is to sustain their stay, while Honorable David Bahati challenged Leader of Opposition by reminding him that it is Parliament that approved money for assistant RDCs and RCCs.
I wish to request your chair to give time to the Minister for the Presidency to come and provide clarification on the appointment of the Assistant Resident District Commissioners.
In this budget, we approved money for assistant RDCs. We approved it in the budget, and the minister has taken action. Then you come back as if you are not involved. You were involved in approving this position.
Let's get a... The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, ruled that the minister appears before Parliament with documents indicating the amount of money appropriated for recruitment of the new RDCs and the criteria used.
And this is the criteria, and these are the requirements of a person. You cannot pick somebody just from nowhere to come and claim to be an RDC when a person has a bad track record.
Some members of Parliament continued to react on the issue with recommendations for the minister to also bring the education qualifications for new appointed RDCs.
Us now, it's part of what we should focus on, to develop some of those laws that govern the process of even appointing RDCs. You should be
Honourable members, yes. I have already...
If we have been having the type of Anderson existing, the current that they have appointed right honorable, the current ones, I have an example of one who didn't even go to school at all, but is also posing as the assistant. So this is where we are going. So we request that.
Meanwhile, Kalungu MP Joseph Sewungu brought to the House the issue of Massacre Road that had broken down, emphasizing that it should be urgently fixed.
And Madam Speaker, they worked on the bridge of Katonga, but ever since they put a provision, they are not doing anything ever since then. It is also sinking day by day. But see, what is happening, people are suffering.
I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Ngwitabinji in Parliament.
And Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA, is among the agencies to survive the ongoing rationalization process. A report of the Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure reveals that repealing the UNRA Act 2006 as proposed by government would create a setback in the national infrastructure service delivery. The MPs agreed to debunk the government proposal, retaining UNRA as an independent entity which only needs restructuring since it has served its purpose persistently.
Okay, Minister, first move the bill, then.
The last minute's debate during the Tuesday plenary session commended the contributions of the Uganda National Roads Authority.
And they needed
chaired by Speaker Anita Among, the proposal to repeal the UNRA Act 2006 was caught offside.
When you look at everybody's face is here for UNRA.
We want to say that if you are not convinced that UNRA is doing work, we implore you to join UNRA, or you ask for ministry to be rationalized to go and join UNRA because it is doing work.
Right Honourable Speaker, members, I beg to move that Uganda National Road Authority Act Repeal Bill 2024 be rejected in its totality. Thank you.
The Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure, chaired by Kazo County Representative Dan Kimosho, reveals that the revenue collection by UNRA is appealing, hence mainstreaming its services with the Ministry of Works and Transport will cause financial loss in both short and long term.
The committee was further informed that the private sector have no reassurance that rationalization of UNRA will be a better option compared to the prevailing status quo.
UNRA since 2015 has an estimated asset value of 5.4 billion and has constructed 3,686 kilometers of new paved national roads compared to the 2,800 kilometers 50 years before UNRA's creation. The MPs recommend that the country still needs the services of UNRA independently to enhance the infrastructure journey.
It would be inappropriate for the country to depart from the norm of good practices when it comes to road infrastructure development.
In the next few weeks, we are going to have a road project launched from Koboko to Moyo for construction of a road under a grant from World Bank. It is very important for the minister to clarify how such a project will be implemented if UNRA is removed now.
The MPs ask for a restructuring process in UNRA to improve its capacity, saying that repealing the UNRA Act 2006 would resurrect the challenges which led to the creation of UNRA.
The only issue has been lack of funding. Money even the honorable minister, he knows it very well. Even if he takes it there to the Minister of Works, the moment there's no money, we would not. So we thought that we would have a bit of time. This would be the time
Honorable members,
to review Minister Road Agents and UNRWA to see especially the staff and have a lean staff, downsize it.
The Minister of Works and Transport has been advised to consider amending the UNRWA Act 2006 to address the salary disparities by empowering the minister to retrieve some of the powers of the UNRWA board. As moved by Kampala Central MP Muhammad Nsereko, this is a food for thought for even other ministries.
The issue of salary disparity is not only limited to UNRWA. It cuts across entire public service.
That we use the appraisal method in performance contracts of these technical officers so that the minister can hold a whip and exercise his executive powers where need be. Rather than winding up the agency, let's have empowerment of the minister to have the whip over the agency, and we have harmony.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni has this evening received a delegation from the African Union that is in the country to evaluate Uganda's bid to host the African Union Humanitarian Agency. Uganda submitted its bid under the auspices of the African Union, which was accepted and is now being evaluated by the team that paid a courtesy call on the president. Uganda is competing against Kenya, Equatorial Guinea and Nigeria to host the AU Humanitarian Agency. The delegation was led by Professor Giulio Racco-Tonirina, who is also the head of Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development at the African Union. President Museveni, who welcomed the members of the delegation, shared views with his guests about the establishment of the agency in Uganda. He expressed his optimism that Uganda will win the bid. Uganda comes second in hosting a large number of refugees after Ethiopia that has 3.6 million. The Assembly of the African Union at the 11th AU Humanitarian Symposium that sat in Nairobi, Kenya in November 2023 adopted a decision to establish a humanitarian agency as part of African Union vision to strengthen its human architecture.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with Baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their targets and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, Baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love Baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior's the skin. No more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow with subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. State Minister for the Youth and Children Affairs, Balam Barugahara, says plans are underway to pay a courtesy call to all detention centers across the country. He says he will assess the living standards of inmates and impart into them patriotic education.
State Minister in charge of Youth and Children Affairs, Dr. Balam Barugahara, has dedicated Tuesdays as a public day at his office.
Honorable Minister, we apply for government projects as the youth, but we are not replied.
The people you have seen out there, they have their own challenges, minimal challenges, which can be addressed. We just need to tell them where to go.
With just a few weeks in office, Balam this Tuesday interacted with members of the general public who presented their issues to him. For family members of the alleged missing persons, Dr. Balam Barugahara allayed their fears and said that the president is handling this matter.
So let Honorable Robert Chagulanyi be polite and humble as the president finds a lasting solution where our young brothers can be set free.
He is, however, quick to hit back at the opposition politicians for delaying the process.
In your obligation as the president of NUP and NUP leadership, you have even failed to get these people good lawyers. You are giving them interns. This is the worst thing is, get them good lawyers. Go to court, ask for production warrant, get substantial sureties. Let the boys be given a bail. But if you can't get bail, we requested the president to stand surety for his grandchildren.
Balam further alleges that some of the credentials of the purported missing persons doesn't correspond with the government data. He therefore reveals plans to visit different detention centers, not only for evaluation but to guide inmates.
We intend to write to the Commissioner General and we hold these patriotism lectures in the different prisons and police stations so that our people know their role as Ugandans. They need to be patriots, not thieves, not rapists, not defilers, not goons. They need to be good people. They should not burn their tarmac. They should protect their tarmac. They should not kill animals in national parks. They should protect them, the wildlife. They should not abuse elders. They should listen and learn from elders. So we are going to have those lectures in a different, and they are open lectures. So either you are NUP, whether you are NRM, we shall listen to you. And we shall know your problem, and we shall be messengers to your families and even to your lawyers. That is a project that I think is good to reconcile people and also to mend and rehabilitate people. It's a healing process.
On a very rare occasion, a section of members of the general public brought him bananas, chicken and fruits to congratulate him upon his ministerial appointment. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Now, the consequences of climate change threaten national biodiversity, agricultural practices, and the well-being of its citizens. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Water and Environment, Alfredo Koto-Kidi, says these have been triggered by human activity. He was speaking at a local climate adaptive living facility organized by the Ministry of Local Government in partnership with the United Nations Capital Development Fund.
Climate change manifests in various ways, from prolonged droughts affecting agricultural productivity to erratic weather patterns jeopardizing water resources. To navigate this perilous path, there is need to prioritize climate change education as a fundamental element of its national agenda. Government, through the Ministry of Local Government with support from United Nations Capital Development Fund, has organized a 3-day workshop aimed at mitigating the impact of climate change.
We are now expanding. We have finished the pilot phase. We are rolling out to further districts of Mulambuli, Nabelatuk, Nakapiripiriti, and Kitgum. I don't know how many of you have been to Nakapiripiri or to Nabiratu, but these are local governments that have a lot of climate change impact, and therefore this kind of project is necessary to guide planning and budgeting, to guide identification of investments.
Uganda contributes less of emissions as to climate change compared to other countries. However, it receives less funding to combat the issue. The head of Cooperation European Union in Uganda, Caroline Advertisements, however, says it is important to support such countries in fighting effects of climate change.
Countries, we support them in fighting the effects of climate change and in adapting to climate change, in mitigating the effects of climate change, and this is what the program is about. And as I was saying, it's not only this component, there's a broader component, in total 15 million euro, where we really help the government to attract this climate finance, which is being mobilized at a global level, into international level, see how the Ministry of Finance can tap into these funds at a global level, climate finance funds, these big funds. So see how we can support the ministry to benefit from these opportunities, see how we can help the private sector to benefit from these opportunities through the banks, and how we can help the local districts through local to work in this area as well. So.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Water and Environment, Alfred Okot Okidi, calls upon the public to protect and conserve the environment as one way of fighting.
Therefore, as a country, our emphasis is restoration of the natural resources. We want to push our forest cover to 24%. We want to restore wetlands and get back to at least 12% fully restored. And we also want to make sure that the riverbanks and the lake shores are protected and also clearly demarcated with appropriate natural and man-made infrastructure.
And a section of Muslims in Jinja are furious after learning that a case file where the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council had appealed against an earlier ruling by the court had been recalled. Justice Farid Abukirwantambi informed Jinja Court that they could not go ahead with hearing of the case because the case file had been recalled for by the principal judge, Justice Flavian Zeija. Court was supposed to start hearing the main suit of the case after the Jinja High Court stopped lawyers Moses Kabega and Mohammed Makmot from representing the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council in a case that was lodged against the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubajje.
For judges' chambers ordered that file be remitted to this court.
Yemu neddamu kuchimibwa wano ng'ate yali yamala okusala n'agamba nti omulamuzi yennyini yawulira ensonga yalina okuddamu n'agiwulira bwe baba basabye okuddamu okugitunulamu mu nkola eya review.
This honorable court made a ruling last week on 15th, and disqualifying our two lawyers who represent Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, and for that this date was selected for cross-examination.
Yes.
And that's exactly why we are here in court.
There was to communicate that the file is not here. I can send the proceedings to the PJ, then he can tell us.
Not you.
Maybe as good business. I don't know. There's a confirmation on 7th May of this year at 12:30 p.m.
Kole eyo temanyikiddwa mu ngeri gye tukolamu emirimu gyaffe nga bapolida n'abalamuzi. Kubanga kimanyikiddwa nti obwenkanya tebulina kukolebwa bukolebwa, wabula bulina okulabibwa nga bukolebwa. Leka kuŋŋamba nti nakoledde kirungi nga saalabye nga kikolebwa, bwe bwenkanya obwo.
It's really very sad to note that our file was illegally smuggled, was called for by the principal judge in Kampala. This was really done intentionally to test our patience and integrity. Indeed, they wanted to make us get irritated, to lose temper and start rioting. But I all Muslims, let's be orderly, let's keep quiet. Our legal fraternity are doing what? Our legal partners are struggling to see that things are being brought to the line.
ensonga d'obusiraamu litambule buki bulungi n'ebintu bya ibyo bimala
And with that, we take a quick break. When we return, more details. You are watching News Tonight.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanya kuzunga na banka siripisi. Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyezi *185*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erungamizibwa banka enkulu ya Uganda.
After the massive launch of the Museveni Awoma hit song in Kololo, Mukono, Nabweru Wakiso District and Masulita War Zone, Munamasa Kansereko Emma takes Museveni Awoma to Mityana on Friday, the 26th of April 2024 at Mityana Saza Ground. We shall start with Bulungi Wansi, a health camp, and then a boom of entertainment with thousands of comedians and artists, all at a free entry. Anti-Jaja Gabude. His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be our chief guest. Come, let's have fun with Jaja. Don't miss.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Luo segment. Learn about the famous legend of Jipiri and Labongo and how the Alur, Acholi, Jonam and Japadola Jaluo emerged.
The Luo are basically Nilotic.
We are believed to have come from Baragazelle in the Sudan.
When this colonialism came,
Rorawit
saved the life of men actually.
Fought fiercely.
Awich was imprisoned here on that hill, Kololo.
Awich remained the greatest hero in Acholi.
Premiering on Saturday the 20th of April 2024, 3 to 8 p.m. at Ndere Center. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
Now in business news, True Inspiration Generation Network Africa has partnered with Uganda Pentecostal University Fort Portal to provide thematic training sessions to students. This exercise is themed School to Work Spaces, intending to prepare students market ready after school.
The partnership between TIG Network Africa and Uganda Pentecostal University aims at empowering and equipping students with knowledge and skills in preparation for the job market through career development sessions.
There are a lot of statistics that informs what we started. Over 30,000 students every year graduate in Uganda. And trust me, how many ministries do we have in Uganda? And how many parastatals in private, in mainstream, that we know of that can employ all of us. So it is important to give you necessary knowledge to innovate, create, and be much more impactful in society. So TIG Network Africa, our focus is to revive the glory of family, starting with the children.
While addressing students, Dr. Patricia Achano Kiria emphasized the importance of upholding values of integrity, hard work, and discipline for work ethics and career success.
Integrity helps us to fight corrupt tendencies. It helps us to build trust, which is vital in both personal and professional relationships. And in leadership, integrity is what distinguishes between the great leaders and those who are mediocres.
We are asking, who are you? That I'm a servant of Lord. No, not the work you do to the Lord. Who are you? Today, you must know that you are your thoughts. You are your thoughts. It is your thought that drives you. You are not that body you are seeing. That body is a temple of God. You are your thoughts. When you want to do something, it is your thoughts that will give you that power to do it.
Valuable insights on how to penetrate the job market, seize and exploit the available opportunities were availed as these sessions provide exposure to future employees.
We need to embrace technology of AI, but combine it with our own knowledge. Now, there are so many jobs in the AI technology because so many companies are looking for people who are well versed with AI technology.
It's going to be very challenging for every single human being to challenge the new innovations we have in our tech space like AI if you don't keep at the same pace, learning, relearning, and unlearning things that don't make sense to your community and to yourself. As you're studying, whatever you're studying, you should appreciate problem solving. Endeavor to make sure you solve a problem in society.
The students were grateful for the eye-opening experience that availed them with the practical guidance towards transitioning to a working class.
How to acquire opportunities from different sources, like engaging myself on online courses, engaging myself within different organizations and programs.
We are committed to providing you, our students, with more academic excellence, but also to keep involving partners and networks that can take you a notch higher from the theory that you learn here.
With the exposure to real-world work practices during the training sessions, TIG Network Africa empowers students to confidently navigate the job market and exploit the available opportunities. Patricia Nandago for UBC.
And on the international scene, marijuana is a rare consensus issue in politically divided America, with polls showing that 88% of the Americans support at least partially legalizing the drug. But cannabis advocates say neither of the leading presidential candidates are capitalizing on shifting attitudes. Let's take a look.
Nearly 3/4 of Americans live in states where marijuana is legal for medicinal purposes. Half the population live where it's also allowed recreationally. But cannabis remains entirely illegal under federal law, where it's classified alongside heroin and LSD as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. The overwhelming majority of American voters who think that should be changed makes cannabis a ripe opportunity for presidential candidates Joe Biden and Donald Trump, especially among young voters, according to Scotty Smart, who's a community organizer with the civic engagement group, the New Georgia Project.
A lot of people don't understand policy. A lot of people don't know how policies affect their day-to-day lives. I think cannabis is an issue that ignites and excites young people to pay attention.
At the National Cannabis Festival and Washington Policy Summit earlier this month, founder Caroline Phillips said neither Biden nor Trump have delivered.
For both of them, one thing they have in common is that their track records on cannabis have been inconsistent and incremental. We've heard promises from both administrations, neither of which have panned out in full.
Under Biden, the Department of Health and Human Services recommended changing marijuana to a lighter drug classification, rescheduling it instead of making it legal, which would be descheduling.
The current White House's policy on marijuana remains slightly unclear. They have given us great signals that they're willing to shift towards descheduling, but most likely rescheduling. However, we haven't quite seen the action to back up their words.
In 2018, then President Trump said he would, quote, probably support efforts to end federal prohibitions on marijuana and leave its legality up to the states. That legislation never got out of Congress. Trump told a Newsmax TV interviewer last year that studies show marijuana, quote, does significant damage, and yet, from a voting standpoint, it's a pretty popular thing.
Trump's track record on cannabis has been inconsistent at best. We've heard him both say that people who sell drugs in the illicit market should be jailed and even put to death, I think with some of the scarier rhetoric around that. But we've also seen him pardon people who've been locked up for cannabis.
U.S. voters' shifting attitudes about marijuana show in Gallup polling, where last year 70% of adults supported legalization. That's more than double the number who said they favored legalization in 2000. Morgan Fox is political director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws.
This is an issue that is increasingly important to voters, particularly young voters, and any candidate that actually wants to get ahead, whether it's in the presidential election, in Congress, or state legislatures or local legislators, if they ignore this issue, it's going to be at their peril.
Younger voters animated by legalizing marijuana are hoping for Biden administration action on cannabis before the November election. Scott Stearns, VOA News.
And now in sports, with only 41 days to their maiden appearance at the ICC T20 Men's World Cup, the Cricket Cranes team, Uganda national senior men's team, have today received a new head coach in Abe Sharma. Sharma was unveiled by the Uganda Cricket Association this morning at Lugogo, and he will be tasked to lead the team to the World Cup stage as his first assignment.
Famously known for his wicket-keeping and batting during his playing days, the 50-year-old joins the Ugandan team on a 3-year contract after spells with India A, India Under-19, India Women's National Cricket Team, and Delhi Ranjani team. The coach who was unveiled this morning at Lugogo takes over from Lawrence Mahatlani, who left last year.
The time has come to introduce to you our head coach. As far as Uganda cricket is concerned, final person who is going to take the Cricket Cranes ahead of World Cup operations and through the World Cup tournament and henceforth. The gentleman before you is Mr. Sharma Abhay, Indian origin. He turned out to be the best candidate out of 54 applicants. He's played cricket for 12 years with the Indian team, with India and England. He's a level 3 coach. He's attached to the National Cricket Academy of India for 7 years. He has worked with the national side with India. He has a very big task, and I know I have belief in him and trust in him. Board has already approved him to take on the boys.
With his vast coaching knowledge and experience, Sharma's first assignment will be to prepare and guide the cricket team for the World Cup.
We have already identified few areas. One is fielding, the other is wicket keeping, which is going to be the key factor. When you play the top sides, your fielding determines where you're going to land up, how much target you're going to face, how much target you're going to set up. Once you're setting up the target, it's all about batting. But when you're defending the target, the pressure comes on the fielding. If we do the fielding well, the bowling looks better. So there are certain areas we are looking forward to enhance in the unit, and we are moving in the right direction. The way we had a last session yesterday, it was really nice to see that the way boys are eager to learn, and we have discussed few areas, and in the process for the preparation and our process, we'll try and cover all those areas to the best of our ability.
He obviously comes highly recommended, so looking forward to working with him and seeing what he brings on board. And as a team, we'll give him our full support, and hopefully he can add some value to the group.
The team is set to travel to Sri Lanka on the 25th of April 2024 for their final training tour that will last 21 days.
This is a final stretch for us, probably the last bit of cricket we might get before the World Cup. So it's very important for us to make sure everything is in gear, to make sure all our boxes are ticked. So it's a very important tour for us.
Now going into Sri Lanka again, from Ghana we know we should work on the battle period over 7 to 15, and that is what we have been working on. We need a lot of aggression, a lot of running, and a lot of smartness in that period.
The introduction of the new coach is a great push for the team as they draw closer to their maiden appearance at the World Cup stage. Uganda qualified for the 2024 ICC T20 Men's World Cup after winning 5 of its 6 games in the 2023 Africa T20 World Cup qualifiers, causing a major upset against Zimbabwe with a 5-wicket victory. Grace Joyce Kimgisa, UBC News.
And the annual Barefoot League, played in Adjumani district and organized by Score Beyond NGO, has received a boost of over 17 million in form of sports equipment from the Germany embassy. Equipment that includes balls, boards, playing gear, and many other items will be used in this year's season.
Since 2015, young people between the ages of 6 and 18 have gotten a chance to engage in sport for development at Adjumani Model Secondary School in Adjumani Town Council, Adjumani District. This through the works of Score Beyond, a sports non-governmental organization dedicated to using sport as a tool and stepping stone to greater opportunities. Among the organization's programs is the annual Barefoot League that has received a boost of over 17 million Uganda shillings in form of equipment donations from the German embassy.
A lot of equipment comprising, as you can see all around you, basketball hoops, goalposts, a footwork ladder, whistles, bibs, footballs, netballs, rugby balls.
For Germany, for the German embassy, sports cooperation is a very important part of the overall cultural cooperation, as we call it. Sports is in many ways a good method and a good way to foster relations between people internationally, as on national level, or in the districts in Adjumani. If you introduce new projects, you of course foster sports, mass sports, and if you do it with children, I mean, you lay the foundations for good education, and hopefully also together with the skilling elements in this project, you give them a better chance to stand in life and to fulfill their dreams.
Score Beyond believes the donations are a push to the right step in the right direction for their vision.
The equipment means so much. That means they can come to a level that they can compete with other children who maybe have more at their disposal. So this is so critical, having equipment. We were doing just rugby with the Best Barefoot League, and now we have almost 4 sports. We have the netball coming on board, we have football, we have basketball. We use the sports to make sure they stay in school longer, and we skill them. And of course, alongside that, we do life skills, we do mobile library, we also do a lot of health and well-being for
the annual Barefoot League is played barefoot, hence the name. The league currently attracts about 100 young people from the school, the community, and the neighboring refugee camps.
And when one wants to find out how Uganda is endowed with boxing talent, then a visit to the National Boxing Championship would be ideal. At least 400 boxers are at Lugogo competing for honors. Let's take a look.
Unlike Monday, Day 2 was affected by the heavy rains that made fights stop for an hour. However, after the rains, action resumed.
Over March, we're having all those challenges. We are hoping to continue our program the way it's supposed to be. Having the resting day on Friday. I don't know, we shall maybe make some changes according to how things go, and maybe the weather, it doesn't affect us a lot. So we are moving on.
Most of the fighters are young lads trying to make it to stardom. Others are taking chance to the international stage.
Opponent wange wadava mu Champions League nze ndiwa open nebaza nnyo mukama nti taddewo challenge era ne mukuba era adde akole nnyo ope waneno we tukomye si enkomerero ope ni zino nga ziggwa saba mukama omutonzi mbewo ne gold medal kyensaba
come for here Nationals Open, but my first fight I win. I think another one will be tomorrow. My target, I want to medal, golden medal. Yeah, I want a golden medal.
Former national team boxer Juma Miro highlights what it takes to become an international boxer.
National Opens ndaba guno mukino gw'amaanyi nnyo era ndaba muhanji mulimu nnyo gwakoze gw'amaanyi era ne competition ngiraba abana guno regime eno gyendabe ene yakajempya ndaba skills z'amaanyi era bakola bulungi nnyo ate n'ekirala ne abana batushikirira like abana bakikira eggwanga ndaba nga experience y'amaanyi.
The 2024 Uganda Boxing National Open has 60 female boxers representing over 40 clubs, spanning several categories including elite, youth and juniors, with intense bouts and fierce rivalries. The top 2 boxers from each weight category will get an opportunity to compete in the Champions League and equally have bragging rights to the national team.
And that does it for News Tonight for now. We do return at 10 o'clock with more details. Elizabeth Nakakuni on Sign Language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. We will leave you with the weather update.
Good evening. Welcome you once again to our daily weather forecast from the Ghana National Meteorological Authority. I'm Jasper. In the morning, most parts of the country had sunny intervals together with partly cloudy conditions. And for the satellite analysis today, the rain belt is diffuse over our country, and this will contribute to enhanced rainfall in the next 3 days. Tomorrow morning, we are anticipating light thunder rains across Kampala, Masaka, and the lowest light rains will be expected. For the eastern parts of the country, we are forecasting light thunder rains across Jinja, Toro, and in Soti it will be partly cloudy. While for the western parts of the country, we are forecasting light rains across the entire region. And for the northern sector, we are anticipating partly cloudy conditions together with sunny intervals that will persist for some time. Later in the afternoon, Kampala will have partly cloudy conditions and temperatures will be around 28 degrees Celsius. And for Masaka, light thunder rains will be expected with a high of 27 degrees Celsius. Nakasongola, 29 degrees Celsius with light thunder rains. For the eastern parts of the country, sunny conditions will persist with a high of 29 degrees Celsius across Jinja, and in Toro, partly cloudy conditions will be expected, apart from Soti, where light rains will be expected with a high of 30 degrees Celsius. Western parts of the country in the afternoon, we are forecasting light thunder showers, apart from Masindi with partly cloudy conditions, and temperatures will be around 30 degrees Celsius. Northern parts of the country, we are forecasting the entire region to have light rains, and temperatures will be from 29 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Across the globe, we are forecasting Cairo to have sunny intervals with a high of 42 degrees Celsius, and in Dubai, sunny intervals are expected with a high of 32 degrees Celsius, and for Nairobi, light showers will be expected with a high of 26 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much for watching our daily weather forecast. For more information, you can visit our website. Good evening.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow of a subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched.